Today you're going to design two different wedges as contenders for the wedge you use for your color wheel. One of these two that you design, just one of the two will be the one we use. I just like us to have options, so I'm going to make you guys create two. Now, a couple things. You'll notice with the color wheel example that I was sharing with you that each of the wedges on this particular color wheel are different. Our wedge, our final wedge, is just going to be repeated around this center access point. So it's going to be symmetrical all the way around. So eventually on the light table, whatever you design in this wedge will be flipped multiple times over, like so. Okay, obviously tracing it using the light table, and it's going to create a radial design that kind of looks like a kaleidoscope. Okay, so unlike this one, how we have a bunch of completely different wedges that are plugged in with tints and shades, you are going to be using the same wedge and designing it radially around that wedge. I think that'll be pretty cool. All right, you'll notice that I did this yesterday, and my piece of paper was not large enough, but this is what the original wedge of mine looked like. So I designed it. This is kind of what it looks like, okay? Has a handful of shapes in it that meet the criteria. And then when I started to trace it, now this is only half of it, so I ran out of room. But you'll see how when you flip that, okay, around the center access points, okay, it becomes this really cool radial symmetrical thing, okay? And I think it's gonna be a really cool design overall. Okay, so we're gonna design it as just sort of an exercise in radial symmetry. Now that being said, we're gonna start by designing two different wedges. One of these is going to be the winner, but I like us to have options, so I always make you guys design more than one. And we are gonna make it follow the criteria, okay? So the criteria say that in our straightaways, which is this area and this area, we need to make a couple shapes touch that area. Now we only wanna deal in about 4 or 5 shapes, okay? Because we don't want to have 1.5 million areas to paint in. So 4 or 5 shapes total. I am actually going to start. I think I want to start with this. So I'm going to start by designing kind of on either of these sides. And again, when you design, you want bigger is better, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. All right, so already I have, and again, you can use shape tracers, rulers, you don't have to. Already I have 2 shapes, but 3 spaces. So remember to count the background, okay? So I have something that touches both the straightaways. That's really important. Also, both of these shapes are really large, okay? Next thing, I'm gonna draw another shape that also hits this side edge, because I know when I repeat it radially, it's gonna look pretty darn awesome. And again, you design this however it makes sense to you. Just think about the size of these shapes. Anything that's small, you're gonna be miserable a little bit later on. So right now I have 1, 2, 3 shapes, but 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, okay? I can include, let's see, I can include one more. So let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, these could be 5. Okay, so this would be the background space. So this right now technically is complete. Okay, now let's say just for kicks, I wanted to add one more shape here. That is more than fine. I would stick to a limited amount of shapes total though. Okay, because remember, the more crazy you go with this, the more areas you're gonna have to paint in. And we've got other projects to do this semester like clay. All right, so let's say I add that one in there for variety. That's perfect. Okay, so now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This can be my background, all my background area. That's perfect. Okay, so this would be a perfect contender for then using as my radial design. What I like about this is the shapes. We have shapes on both edges here. okay, the straightaways that touch the straightaway. Okay, that means when they repeat radially, they're going to create another area or larger shape, which will be cool as part of the radial design. So make sure some of your shapes touch the straightaway on this side and on this side. Okay. Also, make sure you're only dealing in about 4 to 5 shapes total. If you get too many more than that, it's going to be too many areas to paint in. And you'll notice that pretty much all my shapes, I would say maybe with the exception of this one here, are all a decent size, okay? So that size will help us obviously have good craftsmanship, because the larger the space, the easier it is to paint in, okay? You're gonna create 2 different wedges, and next time I see you guys, we're gonna choose which one is the winner, or the winning one, in order to make it radial using that light table, obviously in final paper.